When they need something, they come to me. I've always been a creative person and I just like making things look cool, and graphic design is everywhere. It's on packaging, it's on signs that you see when driving like down the street. Graphic design is pretty much what catches people's attention to a product. And I wanted to be a part of that, especially for a company that I shop at quite frequently. And it's nice and stuff because, you know, this job is really, you know, close to home. I didn't have to really travel very far because I wanted to stay in the area. Being an artist for a living is kind of hard in a more rural area, but I got lucky finding this job.
So Daylene's awesome. You know, when the previous gentleman had left, we kind of put our eyes together and I took over that department. Kind of got together and had a couple applicants for sure, certainly some qualified individuals. Daylene's kind of caught my eye, interviewed her along with some other folks. Just kind of had everything we needed. It worked on paper, brought her in, just something about her. She's just been excelling ever since. She has done some really neat things. The best is when I'll send her an email and she'll say, "What do you want it to look like?" And I'll say, "Just work your magic." Like, I don't, you know what I mean? I'm not one to really hone in on do it this way or do it that way. You do it and let's take a look at it together. She's done so many great things. I mean, I guess the truck wraps are super neat because that stuff is so expensive. Yeah. You're trying to bid that stuff out, which I believe is what we used to do. And to be able to do that in-house really is very creative. You know what I mean? Is just really something that we probably never thought we would get to this point, but we are. So I would say all of the truck wraps are really, really neat. But the stuff she does in the stores, which you'll see, you know, it's just, you know, we're not making, 10-foot signs. We're making 60, 70, 80, 100-foot banners, 100-foot signs that go across buildings. I mean, that's really, really impressive, the way that it looks. Turns out it's not blurry, it's not fuzzy, it looks perfect. Yeah, I mean, all of that stuff, I definitely couldn't pick one thing. You know what, I could, the superhero design, because I kind of said, let's stick with like a superhero type. Everybody knows I'm a Superman fan. So there's the donation bin with the cape. Obviously donations are near and dear to my heart, as that's how I started. So that was probably, actually that might be my favorite.
My favorite project, I would have to say probably any of the projects that let me, use my creative freedom. So like the truck wraps, especially the superhero one. That one was probably my favorite because I actually got to create a character, which is kind of what I went to school for. The application process, on the other hand, was not my favorite. I prefer more of the designing aspect of everything. For designing, I mostly use Photoshop, but I also use Adobe Illustrator. That's usually mostly used for like the vector graphics, like our logo and stuff. I've used InDesign to make our annual reports because that's the easiest for publishing. But yeah, Photoshop is the main program that I use for designing.
You go back there right now, she is working on something. She's always got that printer running, you know what I mean?
It's usually just signage, various signage for the stores. I've done a lot of safety signs, signs to, for sales of that day, or, I've done banners, donation centers. I have the signage and stuff that have, tells you where donations go. I've done even, little signs like ring bell for assistance. When they need something, They come to me. Yeah, the safety signs, a lot of the times they're, you know, like I have these ones here to show, you know, how to safely stack each of the items and stuff. I've also made, you know, stickers for the shop Goodwill, kind of like between these ones and fragile stickers. I like to make them, you know, bright, colorful. Pictures and stuff are nice too, so that, you know, people have text with a picture and stuff, and I want, you know, want people to make sure that they stay safe. Typical week, it kind of depends on what time of year it is. Usually around this time, springtime, getting close to May, because Goodwill week is usually my busiest. Usually things kind of slow down a little bit more in the winter time because there isn't as many activities going on. It all depends. Some days I'll be pretty much almost, you know, spending a whole week printing out just a bunch of signs. Like for example, the stacking safely signs. Print out like 100 of those and pretty much spend most of the week doing that. And then there's other times that I'm bouncing from project to project. I'll get, every now and again, I'll get a new project just kind of thrown in there with the ones that I'm already working on. Just kind of something small, like the things for the decals for the donation bins.
Anything you ask her to make, you know, she's able to make stuff really quick. I mean, you know, we kind of have new policies in the plant, and you know, I'll ask for her to make something up, make it look good, and obviously this is more like a caution type of thing, which is what we were looking for. She put it on magnets, so now every single one of our locations, 50 of them, right, approximately 50 of them, have multiple of these all over the locations.
Like, I will send things to the printer, and while that's printing, I usually will be doing something at my computer, usually designing work. Other times, if I have stuff that had just freshly come off the printer, I'll be cutting and weeding or whatever. Sometimes I'll be doing the application, putting them on the coroplast while things are printing out. I just kind of rotate around. Kind of want to be able to redo everything from the past, because a lot of this stuff, you know, is old, outdated, about 10 years old. A lot of it has, you know, a lot of the stuff is faded, and I have kind of a consistent design that I go with for the signage. So I'd like to kind of keep that, you know, consistent throughout the stores and donation centers.
See it grow. I mean, we want to see everything grow, right? We're almost at 800 employees now. She is the only person that's doing that. So I would love to be able to add more people, maybe other locations, to be able to get things done quicker. And that's another thing, you know, when stores need sale today signs or stores need whatever, you know, dumpster diving and all that, she is quick to make that stuff, and we're quick to get it sent out. But I think growth in general for all the departments of Goodwill is probably everybody's goal.
The graphic design program here at Goodwill has been around for a little over 10 years, just over 10 years as of last year. The first graphic designer here was Vincent, who now has his own company, CVB Media, in DuBois. And then my predecessor, Dave, is the one who taught me all the ins and outs of this department. A lot has changed. I started out completely not knowing how to use a printer. And the first printer that I used was not the one that we currently have. My location has changed. I used to be in the old police barracks, or what's now the Preston Way Shop Goodwill, before I got moved over here a couple years ago, so that I was a lot closer to everybody else.
Her being able to be here, to be able to do it, has just really helped out. She was next door. When we first started, we decided to kind of move everything over into the main office in Falls Creek. and it's just excellent. Like I said, everything you ask, it's just easy to walk in there and say, hey, Daylene, can we get this? And she gets it for you pretty quick. She does great work. She's got a great work ethic. So, you know, we just applaud her and tell her to keep up the good work.